This is a podcast or something like that. Hello and welcome to Verbal Journal, episode 59, coming to you live and reporting all the biggest news. First up on today's agenda, investigating the murder of O.J. Simpson. That's what it says here on the agenda. Investigating the murder of... That can't be right. Let's look that up. Hold on. Murder of O.J. Simpson. No, this is murder trial of O.J. Simpson. That's not what I'm looking for. But he was murdered recently, no? Hold on. Let's see. Let's just type in O.J. Simpson. Orenthal James. Orenthal? I wonder if now that he's gone, Orenthal is going to become a more popular name, because I have not seen that one. Orenthal. That's a beautiful name. And why do you have to go and get murdered? Orenthal James. I don't like the James part. I like Orenthal. Orenthal Simpson. Orenthal. Could you imagine going by OJ when your name's Orenthal? God damn it. Well, anyways, I don't see what I was looking for. He died April 10th. Okay, he died recently. I'm sorry. He died. It wasn't murder. What was it? Was it cancel culture? Is it cancel culture? Cause of death. Let's see. I'm just using Wikipedia for now, but you can usually trust Wikipedia for things. Death, illness, and death. Cause of death. What was he ill with? Cancel culture? Oh. Wait. The White House press secretary made a statement about OJ dying. What? Wow. Whoa. Stephen A. Smith, the sports analyst, said... Yeah, I saw on ESPN. Obviously, I read ESPN sometimes. We've used ESPN as a major outlet for non-sports related news here on this podcast. But I saw that they said Stephen A. Smith made a statement on OJ dying, and I was like, I'm not looking at that, because he's just like the biggest talking head that they always need to get his take on everything. I don't know anything about him. I don't listen to sports commentators very much. I usually watch sports on mute while I'm listening to something funny, because that's how I get my maximum stimulation while I'm painting or something. But regardless, it says here that Stephen A. Smith said that after OJ's passing, he said, "One of the greatest athletes we have ever seen, but it all pales in comparison to him being perceived as a double murderer." What? Like, talk about not saying anything. So you're saying one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen, a definitive statement, and then your second, which is connected statement, you're saying but it all pales in comparison to him being perceived as a double murderer. So despite him being a great athlete, people focus on the perception of him as a double murderer. And I guess, a statement like that by Stephen A. Smith leaves it open to the interpretation what he thinks of that, Because realistically, in a hypothetical world where a great athlete did commit an act of violence, which obviously would never happen in our reality, obviously it should affect how we view them, right? I mean... It's so weird to even make that statement, that argument. I'm literally saying our thoughts and beliefs should be affected by experience. That's literally my argument. Regardless, some people take that too far and they cancel culture someone to death, which is clearly what happened here with Orenthal. And, my buddy Orenthal, what's there to say? He knew how to carry a football, and he knew how to carry a glove, So that's the big news. That's what everyone's been talking about. You see all the newspapers. Orenthal time. It's nonstop Orenthal, all Dorenthal, all day. I'm sorry, that didn't really make sense. Let's see. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I'm looking up I'm getting a transmission here from my data guy, Reginald. Okay. Wow. What's this, Reginald? Okay, Reginald, my data person here at verbaljournalpodcast.whatstherapy.gov. My data person is saying that interest in searches, so Google searches for, yeah, that's for OJ, Reginald. Could you get me it for Orenthal, please? Google searches for Orenthal. Let's look at a more recent timescale. Let's look at the last 30 days. Yep. So Google searches for Orenthal multiplied 100 times on the day of Orenthal's passing. That's on April 10th. So, yeah, I feel like Google Trends, this is kind of a confusing way to show it. A lot of people searching Orenthal meaning. That was the top search there. What is Orenthal? No, I don't want to know. But yeah, it's kind of strange the way Google Trends shows it. Okay, let's compare Orenthal to OJ because it shows it just on a scale from 0 to 100, I guess. So it percentageizes it. Okay, a lot more interest in OJ compared to Orenthal. So let's remove that because it kind of warps the data. So yeah, I guess it just shows it from 0 to 100. But really, is that actually what it's doing? Wait, let's put an OJ instead. Yeah, okay, it puts everyone on. Wait, that's still showing me Orenthal. You're telling me that's OJ? I don't really understand how Google Trends works. Oh, okay, yeah. It makes is that logarithmic or what is that? Here, question mark. Numbers represent search interest relative to the highest point on the chart. Yeah. Okay, so it's all relative. It's just kind of a confusing way to show it, but I think that's Google's way of showing as limited data as possible, right? Because they make you pay if you want more of their data. I feel like that's a way to sort of make it a lot simpler what they're showing. Like they're not giving you can't even extrapolate any of the numbers from this. Whereas if they gave you the raw data, you could, extrapolate all kinds of things. Anyways, Orenthal, OJ, both spiking to 100% to their most searched ever, right? Wait, hold on. 2000. Oh, it only goes back to 2004. Well, that's okay, I guess, because his trial was. This is the famous trial on whether he was good at football. This was in 1995. No, my bad. Actually, yeah. Okay, wow. That's bad. So the fact that Google Trends doesn't go back to 1995 doesn't really give us an accurate. Here, let's see. Nope, can't go back to 19. Yeah, so wow, we can't really get an accurate sense of the search interest, in Orenthal or OJ. So for all we know, back during his trial, people were, well, fuck, Google didn't exist, dude. That was a huge L. How did I not just immediately say because Google didn't exist? Okay, obviously it's because Google didn't exist. Wait, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, isn't there some other way to get? I guess the reason that didn't click immediately for me, like, isn't there another way for, like, hold on, I'm getting a phone call. I hope this is not about OJ's death. Okay, yeah, that was a friend calling. My poker game that I've mentioned before should be happening tonight, so I haven't done it in a couple weeks, so that'll be fun to play. What I was trying to say before is like, so, obviously Google didn't exist forever, and I know that. And I totally know that. Wow, I've already been talking about OJ for 10 minutes. I didn't expect to get that much out of this Orenthal segment. To be honest, yeah, it was just that one line on the agenda: investigate the murder of O.J. Simpson, I believe is what it said. And I'm really milking OJ here, if you know what I mean. I'm really milking OJ, and that's not sexual. That's just funny because it's milk and orange juice sort of next to each other. That's where the humor comes from in that comment. But anyways, what I was trying to say is obviously Google has not existed forever, and we all know that, and no one would ever temporarily forget that. But realistically, people still searched things before Google, right? So how did they measure that? Was it library checkouts? How did they measure search interest for things? And can Google compile that into a sort of, it could be a separate document. It could be a separate web page. It could be Google Trends full, Google Trends expanded edition, Google Trends verbal journal inspired edition, VJPIE. So GTVJPIE, the Google Trends verbal journal podcast inspired edition. So yeah, that's where I was going with that. That was the whole point. Wouldn't that be interesting to know how people were searching? Were people going to their libraries and saying, give me a book on athletes who've committed murder, in 1995? Or give me a book on football, just learning about football, or Orenthal, were people going to their local encyclopedia outlets and searching up the name Orenthal? Were people checking out books on baby names more often, O through Z? These are sorts of questions that I think could be explored in general. Yeah. Anyways, welcome to the Verbal Journal podcast, the least listened podcast in the world. That's almost true. That's almost true. We have a very small listener base for this. It is totally fine because I've genuinely been doing this mostly for my own entertainment and it's a fun project. I encourage everyone to do this. I think it's a great idea. I could start a movement right now. We could just call it the Verbal Journal. We don't have to worry about what we call it actually, but really, it's great. If everyone sat down for a week, it's like therapy, but you're just talking to yourself. So it's not the same. It's not as dynamic, but it is healthy to talk to yourself as long as you're doing it in a relatively intentional way. That's not true. You can also just talk to yourself in an unintentional way. There's a lot of different ways that are healthy to talk to yourself, and there are ways that are unhealthy to talk to yourself, which might involve what you're saying and so on, and yeah, all that. But I find this a pretty healthy way to talk to myself. And 59 episodes. Hey, not too bad, huh? 15, 16 months or so. Yeah, 59 episodes. Quite a journey here. Okay, so next we have a new segment. Let me close out of these Google Trends windows. New segment. And thank you, Reginald, for setting up that Google Trends segment. Okay. Thank you. Okay. You heard me? Okay. Well, then don't say I didn't thank you then. I don't want to hear that next time because I thanked you. Okay. Thank you, Reginald, for that segment. Again. So this new segment is very cool. So you might know that the channel has a Discord. It's extremely minor, not used very much, but we do have a Discord. I've had it for a while. And now the new segment is it's a live Discord use segment. Okay, so I'm clicking into Discord. I'm now in Discord. Okay, so if you're listening to this because you are a member of the channel on YouTube or a supporter on Patreon, you have access to the Discord. Also, you just gotta go to the member page or the Patreon page and find it. It's scrolling up or down based on, it's not too far. Or, Patreon, maybe the about page or something. I don't know. You'll figure it out. It's simple enough. But it's not that great. So you're not missing out if you're not in the Discord. I think sometimes people use Discord a lot and then they join my Discord and they're like, what's going on here? But yeah, it's just a very minor thing. So I'm in Discord now. And the reason it's minor is because I'm not seeking more ways to spend time on the computer generally so even though whatever there are benefits, whatever. Okay. So now I'm in Discord and it's like this pop-up window and New polls are here. Plan events, gather opinions, or drop a silly question. Maybe later. So recently I asked the Discord, I said, does it hurt to look at pictures or videos of the eclipse? And because I was curious about that. You know, they say it's bad to look at the sun and look at the eclipse, but if you look at videos of it, and someone said, no, unless you have epilepsy, a video of the eclipse shouldn't be hurting your eyes. That's interesting. Okay, I'm going to say, okay, cool. That's interesting. Thanks. Yeah, because I was curious about that. Like, I assumed, video footage cancels out the sort of problematic elements of the eclipse, but yeah, I was seeing some footage of that, and I was like, this kind of hurts, you know what I mean? But am I imagining it? I don't know. Okay, then in this, and that was in the general channel, right? Yep, that was in the Eternal Chat Room, it's called. Then there's the channel called Books, TV, and Movies, where some people have great conversations about movies and books and TV sometimes. So people are talking about video games here, which is, wow, really not okay. Wow. I have not been moderating this Discord enough. No, I'm just kidding. I love to see people talking with each other, really. Because I know myself. I know I have limited bandwidth to like participate more on the computer because I feel like I already spend too much time on the computer. And I just I don't know. I just don't have much desire to like chat all that often on the computer. I also don't text a lot. I love the person who just called me earlier in this podcast. Like, she's really good about like just calling people. I love friends who just call people. I love when people will just call me even for a brief thing. Oh, like blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Have a good one. Like, to me, that's just, sometimes texting is better, but it's like, I don't know. Some people really want to have like ongoing conversations via text, and it's just not my thing. So for the same reason, I don't chill in the Discord a lot. But I do like it sometimes, I do like it sometimes. And what's going on here? Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, well, I won't live do everything because I also have like some private messages. I don't need to, go into all those. But speaking of which, let's transition from this segment to the one we do very often, which is the mailbag segment, a little bit earlier than usual. Let's check the mailbag. You can write into the mailbag if you'd like to give your feedback on an episode or just talk or whatever. Just say, hey, here's what I liked, here's what I didn't like, whatever. You can do that. So you can do that by writing into verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com. And we have, so I've been having a nice back and forth with a listener on the last 3 episodes, and they have written back. Fantastic. Okay, ballyhoo. We really must keep meeting like this. What's therapy? Thank you for saying ballyhoo again. I appreciate that because it's unique. Yes, Remedy Robinson is my pen name for my first book, The Most Terrible Time in My Life, ... ends Thursday. Oh, that's a great title. Currently working on my second one. Wow, that's fantastic. Congrats. And for my podcast, Slow Drag with Remedy. I listened to your podcast just after finishing my latest episode. You might like it, you might not. Oh, I'm sure I would like it. Funny, it's probably the literal opposite of your great podcast. That's good. You want to be the opposite of the Verbal Journal podcast. I script mine and read it verbatim. No, that's great. There's a lot of scripted podcasts. I think that's probably very nice to listen to a lot of people. It serves a very different function. Mine, this is just so informal and sometimes I'll listen back if I thought I had like a funny section. I'll be like, how did that come off? But, and I do like listening to podcasts that are unscripted also, but I certainly see the appeal of scripted podcasts. Just from writing videos, it's like you can accomplish so much more. Check it out if you'd like. Oh, great. Let me save this to check out later. Slow Drag with Remedy. Very cool. Thank you. Oh, I see ballyhoo right there. Great. That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but I definitely will check it out. It's not necessary to plug. Oh, you don't want, or you don't need me to plug it. That's okay. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, cool. I'm happy to. I wanted to. And then you have an audio version of your first book on YouTube. Wow, that's actually really cool. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Very cool. That's an interesting, I didn't know people did that. That's a great idea. You might as well like make your own audiobook. If you write a book in this day and age, like why wait for like someone else to produce it? You could probably just do it yourself. That's a great idea. And then you say, adieu. So great. And thanks for writing in again. It's great to have people, listening. And I actually wrote in to myself, which I like to do sometimes, because you could be your own listener. You could, just like I was saying, you could talk to yourself. You could write into yourself, and it's healthy and it's good, and it's safe. So I wrote into myself and I sent myself an image. And look, I'm not going to lie, this is sports related. Okay, I've tried to beat around the bush for a few weeks, maybe a few months at this point. It's been quite a running bit. I have to apologize. It was a really long bit. Okay, so this whole I'm not talking about sports thing, but I actually am talking about sports. I've been told I need to apologize for it, for the sheer length. That was a direct quote from my supervisor here at VJP Corp. The sheer length of the bit is what I primarily need to apologize for. Not that it's unfunny, not that it's illegal or anything. It was just the sheer length of it, I was told. So I'm sorry about that, and to make up for it, I'm just going to come out and say this is about sports. I'm going to tell you something that has to do with athletic competition in a sporting organization called the Major League Baseball organization. So this is just an interesting thing. So I was looking at the standings after 13 and 14, 15 games in the Major League Baseball season. I was looking at the middle of the pack, and there are two teams that are 6 wins and 7 losses, or they were, I believe this was Friday when I was looking at this. Arizona Diamondbacks and Toronto Blue Jays. They're both 6 wins and 7 losses, okay? But what's different about them is so interesting. There's what's called the run differential, which is in total in their games, how many runs do they have more than their opponents or less than their opponents? For example, if we look down at the New York Mets, they're 5-7 at this time, and they had a run differential of -1. So almost no difference. They just happen to score 1 run less in total than all their opponents added together. You take all their runs added together, and then you add to it or subtract to it all their opponents' runs added together, different opponents. Seattle Mariners 5-8. Run differential of -21. But what I was interested in is the Arizona Diamondback, meaning they had 21 runs less total than all their opponents total. But what I found really interesting was that the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Toronto Blue Jays, with the exact same record of 6-7, Arizona Diamondbacks have a run differential of +17. So they've gotten 17 runs more than all their opponents, and they still have a losing record, 6-7. And the Toronto Blue Jays have gotten 17 less runs than their opponents total. And they have a record of 6-7. Isn't that crazy? To have gotten in total. So what that means is the games they lost by a lot. And the games they won barely. And for the Diamondbacks, the games they won by a lot. And the games they lost barely. So they have an amazing run differential, but they just it doesn't add up to that many wins. It's just fascinating. You look up a little bit, six wins and 6 losses. The Angels have a run differential of -10, and then the Reds, 6 wins, 6 losses, 0. So it's just interesting how it's like a game theory thing, I guess. It's just like how runs are how you win games, but it doesn't always work in a 1-to-1 situation or a run-to-run situation. If I might put it in that way. What else? So basically, what else did we have on the agenda here in terms of this podcast? Let's see. Oh yeah, the Grinds My Gears segment. I don't have anything for it today. Oh shit. Okay, well, I guess it is what it is. I'm not going to fake it. I'm not going to make something up to grind my gears. Okay, chess segment, which is optional, I'll remind you, but I do want to exercise my option and talk about chess. So what we have here is first the candidates, the chess tournament, the candidates tournament, where the winner plays in the world championship against Ding Liren, the current world chess champion. The candidates tournament is over halfway through. Round 8 played yesterday. Round 9 is today. There are 14 rounds. It's a long tournament. It's a huge tournament. And it's fantastic. I mean, it's great chess. It's amazing chess. And it's great to watch. Personally, I don't care kind of who wins. I mean, it's a lot of great chess. But yeah, I mean, so what's interesting is just to compare it to 2 years ago with the last candidates tournament where Ding Liren ended up tying, right, with Nepomniachtchi. Or how did it work again? Right? Is that what happened? They tied, right? Yeah, and then they played each other. Wait. Yeah, I think that's how it ended. Candidates Chess 2022. Right, because I know it was like... wait. Because Ding Liren... Oh, no, Ding Liren... Yeah, he almost didn't qualify for the candidates. And then... No, I'm sorry. Jan Nepomniachtchi... I'm sorry, I totally forgot that. Jan Nepomniachtchi won first place by a lot last time. Yeah, I totally forgot. That was how it went. Jan came out with 9.5 out of 14 and just completely dominated. Sorry, I'm getting arrested for getting that wrong. And Ding Liren came a 1.5 behind, which is huge. A 1.5 is huge. You get a half point for a draw, a full point for a win. So a 1.5 is a win and a draw behind. That means it's just so much worse in the performance. Not so much, just like significantly. So just Jan was way ahead of the pack, but lost the world championship to Ding Liren. Usually the top two people in this tournament would not play each other, but they did because the world champion wasn't there to play because Magnus stepped down. So instead they had the top two and the candidates play each other for the world championship. But this time it'll be Ding against whoever wins. And it'll be kind of interesting to see because there's it's just some of the best chess. It's so high level. Fabiano Caruana lost a world championship to Magnus back in 2018, 2019 or whatever that was. That was super exciting. And I would love to see Fabiano back in the world championship. I would love to see Jan. I'd love to see, Hikaru would be interesting. I don't know. He just has so many fans that get so hyped about him. It's kind of stressful and annoying. And I get annoyed by how much he's performing with his facial expressions. Jan Nepomniachtchi makes a lot of facial expressions too, but Hikaru just seems like he thinks he's live streaming. And to be fair, he is on camera, but to me that's just distracting and I don't like it. But he does play really good chess. I like Firouzja a lot, Alireza Firouzja. He's the handsome young Frenchman from Iran, and he wears stylish glasses and outfits. And Pragananda is 18. He's amazing. There's 3 players from India in the candidates. There's no way that's happened before. I feel like that's 3 out of 8 is so wild. Sometimes it would be like that with Russians historically. They would have 5 out of, just a huge amount. But I don't feel like looking it up right now, but I very much doubt. It's very cool how much chess is blowing up in India. And there are 3 amazing players. And Gukesh Dommaraju, he's right in first now. He's tied for first with Nepomniachtchi with 5 points out of 8 rounds. He's doing amazing. Pragananda's amazing. He's super fun to watch. He had a great game with Alireza Firouzja. Both very exciting players. Played an interesting game. It did sort of neutralize out to a draw, but Pragananda's played a lot of really cool games, and he's got a really cool style. I like his vibe a lot, too. Vidit is cool, too. He seems to be struggling. He's played some rough games. He seems to feel bad. So anyways, it's a great tournament. So that's what I'm excited to say about that. And then the other chess thing I talk about is Hans Niemann, who was called out for cheating, maybe wrongly in the moment, but he did have a history of cheating that he admitted to and then took back and then sued people in the chess world, and sort of has tried to stylize himself as like the modern Bobby Fischer, which is not a great idea, because there are some people you just don't want to look up to as role models, or you just want to be really particular about how you look up to them. But anyways, Hans Niemann has started this, ongoing YouTube series on his channel. He's been a live streamer and a content creator for a while, but now he does a daily. Yeah, I just realized something funny. So he does a daily videos, and it's this series is called like Journey to World Chess Champion, and it's day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. So he started it over 2 months ago. Journey to World Chess Champion, day 1, and he's been doing it, every day. And they went from getting, 30,000 views to 20,000 views to 10,000 views to 5,000. Sometimes they still get 15. Actually, no, they still get 15, 10 or 15. Okay, which is good. Good for him. I don't like his attitude. I feel that he puts up very strong defenses, and as far as I understand, it doesn't seem like he's really taken accountability for his wrongdoings. He's more just like energized himself on defending himself against maybe the most egregious accusations that he's faced, or I don't know. He didn't really handle the whole situation of getting banned from U.S. tournaments for destroying a hotel room. He didn't handle that very well. So I just, I don't respect his behavior, and I hope he continues to grow as a person. In my opinion, it should be journey to being a wholesome individual, day 1, day 2, day 3. But because I don't think, as I've said before, I don't think uploading daily videos for literally any goal is going to be helpful for you. Unless your goal is uploading daily videos, I don't think uploading daily videos about your journey towards a goal is useful. It just adds, like, because day 58 was update. I went to the emergency room. Like, I don't know. Do you want to be doing that? Like, is that what you wanted to be doing that day? But anyways, so after day 63, which was 10 days ago, which is called qualifying for the 2026 candidates. Did he actually qualify? I guess he did, probably. Yeah, because he did really, really well in this tournament he played recently. To give him props, he tied for first in Granky, I believe. I believe he did, which is he was in the. I believe he was in the second to highest section, but that's really, really good. So I'm sorry, I'm like not. It's like not. I just got the Wikipedia page instead of the actual website. It's like kind of annoying, but I think he did really well. So he probably did qualify for the 2026 candidates. Did he actually? I mean, that's great if he did. Hold on, 2026 candidates chess. Because if he's actually in the... come on. Is there not a Wikipedia yet? 2026... Come on, make a Wikipedia page. 2026. Hold on. Caruana? Wait. I'm confused. 2024 to 2026. I'm confused. Seeded in qualifiers. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't want to watch his... hold on. I'm doing this live on my podcast, which is probably super interesting. Someone says, where is day 64? Yeah. So what happened after this video is he didn't upload for a few days. And yeah, I mean, he's very inspiring to the people who watch his videos. A lot of people saying you're an inspiration. So, hey, that's good. I mean, I think just some of his attitude needs to get shifted a little bit. A lot of people saying I love the new villain arc, and he hearted that comment. He hearts almost every single comment. He really does. Like the day his video is released, he hearts almost every single comment, which I just find so fascinating. Yeah. One person says, this video will not age well, wins one tournament, and now is some type of guru. Still a great achievement and a great chess player, but this is too much. Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, and that person's name is Chess Lover on Twitch, so they know what they're talking about. Anyways, that's the extended chess segment. Anyways, no, wait. The thing I was going to say was Hans Niemann just didn't upload for 10 days, and then he uploaded finally yesterday, and he said, update, we need to talk. And I did watch it, but I forgot. Sorry, y'all. I just looked at the waveforms. I've totally been blowing out the mic like way too often on this recording, and I'm sorry about that. Hopefully it's because I was excited and that sort of translates to a net positive for the listener, but I got to be honest, I blew out the mic a bunch of times. So if you noticed that, I'm sorry. Point is, anyways, Hans is back to posting. I totally forget what he said. I watched the video. Oh yeah, he's like releasing a course. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's releasing a course. Yeah, that's the funny thing. He's like doing a whole course or something. He's the funnel is funneling. He's got a Discord he funnels people into, which, I have a Discord, but it's not very much of a funnel. It is fun though. Sorry. Last week, this is my second apology. I'm really sorry about this one. So last week, I talk about my fantasy. I did the fantasy desk. Okay, did the fantasy desk segment, and it came before the general desk segments section. I apologize for that. It was totally separate, and it wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be part of the desks. So I apologize. Fantasy desk it's not just me talking about fantasy sports. It's a part of the fantasy desks. Wait, I forgot. We're not doing the sports bit anymore. Okay. Well, the important part is the fantasy desk is part of the desk segment. Okay. So now let's get into the desk segments. As always, the desks segment is the desks segment is the segment that the desks segment is the segment that has replaced the infamous failure of the sports desk. So the sports desk segment failed because I messed up just in general. And so now we just have the desk segment, and we have a variety of desks. So let's start with the fantasy desk segment. And again, we are ending the bit about pretending I'm not talking about sports. So I can just be clear, this is about my baseball fantasy team. It is also about my fantasies and my dreams. But guess what, y'all? We have an exciting one. So last week I did lose. I thought I was going to lose, but I was like, hey, sometimes you lose a matchup, a weekly matchup. Doesn't mean you got to switch out all your players. Last year I made that mistake, change up too many players, try to get too many points on the last day to try to squeeze out a win. Barely ever works, and you end up without some of the players you wanted. So now I'm in a great matchup. I'm up against a really challenging opponent who's really good at fantasy. And like this, I'm actually 10 points up. I'm 11 points up on this last day. 11 points is something, but it's not that much. A batter with a couple home runs can get 11 points in a game. A pitcher just throwing an average game or below average game gets 11 points. And today, I need to keep my advantage to get this win. This is a big, big matchup. My opponent has one pitcher throwing today. Pitchers can get a lot of points. I have 3 starters throwing today. So that's good, but it's also risky, especially because one of my starters is Yu Darvish on the Padres, and he's playing against the Dodgers, and I have a lot of hitters on the Dodgers. So that's kind of I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, because it's sort of like the points will cancel each other out. Like if my pitcher strikes out my hitter, I get a point and I lose a point. So I think it's kind of maybe good when I have a little advantage to have a situation like this, because it can mitigate losses. But if Yu Darvish has a bad game, odds are some of the hitters that had a good game are my hitters too. So it's like a little bit interesting, but it's also risky to have your pitcher go up against the Dodgers, But then I have, some other pitchers. So as long as they throw good games, I should be good. Yankees pitcher and Astros pitcher, right? Yeah. So that should be it. That we'll see how this goes, but it's a big day for fantasy, so I'll tell you that. Next up, the media desk segment, and this is on ESPN, so I'm going to be straightforward. This is about sports as well, but it is about media. NCAA Women's Championship most watched basketball game since 2019. That's amazing. Wow. Averaged 18.7 million on ABC and ESPN. Wow. The only sporting events, not even just basketball, the only sporting events in the United States to draw a bigger TV audience since 2019 have been football, the World Cup, and the Olympics. Wow. It was quite a game. I watched it, yeah. It was clear that Iowa was going to lose by the half, in my opinion, because they were completely relying on Caitlin Clark. And it just seemed like, this is my next point I was going to make. Because this was the same in the men's. I'm glad they're letting the men do a championship now too. There's a men's March Madness tournament. If you're confused by that comment, there's a men's March Madness tournament, and in the men's final, there was also a team. It was Purdue that I felt like they had sort of like their special player. Like Caitlin Clark is a special player on Iowa, and it felt like Purdue that big player, their center, I forget his name, Edey or something. He's sort of like their special player, and I just think basketball is such a team game, and like you really need depth to your team to win games. And it just seemed like, in the women's championship, South Carolina had so many points off the bench, and Iowa had none. I believe Iowa ended the game with 0 of their bench players scoring points. So it's just a total lack of depth. And if you want to win games, you have to have a lot of different skills and strategies. So it's the triumph of the collective over the individual is what I wanted to say. And that's the patterns desk, the triumph of the collective over the individual. So what did I write here about that? The winning teams were the teams with the star individual. The winning teams were not the teams with the star individual who attracts exorbitant attention and takes on exorbitant responsibility. That's what I had to say about that. And next up, the record desk. So this is also on ESPN. So full disclosure, this is about sports. I'm so glad I can say that now. I'm so glad that I can finally just say, you know what? I'm talking about sports right now. And that's what I'm doing. It's my time. It's my time. The Celtics and the Bucks combined for record low 2 free throw attempts. So this is the lowest total number of free throw attempts in a NBA basketball game in history. So the Milwaukee Bucks and Boston Celtics combined for a record low 2 free throw attempts Tuesday night. The Celtics in this game took 0. They're the first team in NBA history to not shoot a free throw in a game. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Someone says one of the coaches, the Bucks coach, said, "I thought it was a physical game, and they handed me the stat sheet, and I told them no, I need the full game. I thought it was the halftime stats. I didn't look at the minutes, and then I said, wow, 2 free throws for a basketball game. That's crazy. That is crazy. That is crazy." Damian Lillard says, foul. It's weird, but it seems like the trend, fouls are not a part of the game anymore. It's like I've had times where I thought I was getting fouled, and there's been other times where I was surprised a foul didn't get called on me. And I was like, man, they're just letting us play. Yeah, so it's maybe hard to predict. That's probably pretty annoying for the players, but... And then the biography desk. So this is where the biography segment is now going to be. Okay, the desk segment has now swallowed up the biography segment. So the biography segment now, when I'm reading biographies about artists, as I've been doing, will now be part of the desk segment. Okay, so I did finish reading the Mark Rothko biography I've been reading. I've been reading it a lot. It's like 550 or 600 pages, and I'm done. I'm in the afterword, so I'm not totally done, but I finished. It's now just sort of a lot of interesting details about the author writing the book, and very interesting, but I'm done with the biography. And it's very sad. He took his own life, and it's extremely tragic that he did that, and it's really sad that he suffered as much as he did. And it was a very informative book, and I learned a lot about art and Mark Rothko's life, and art of the 50s, 40s, and 60s. I could have said that in a different order. In New York, which is sort of where, art was blowing up right at that place and time. So it's a very interesting book. This is a funny anecdote from the book that Mark Rothko liked to tell this story. He was sitting in his apartment sometime in New York in 1960 or so, and someone walked by and said, "Oh, I wonder who lives in that apartment with all the Rothkos." Because he had gotten famous by that time. One thing that was really interesting about this book is that Mark Rothko's doctor, Dr. Grokest or something, doctor of many years, eventually there was all this drama with Mark Rothko's estate, and 5 years after he died, one of his his accountant, who had seemed to have almost taken over his life and controlled so much of his life, was found to have acted wrongly in executing some of the functions of the Mark Rothko organization, and there were others who were held accountable as well. So there's actually a lot of drama with his life, and it's actually really, really sad to think about just how things went for him at the end, as he was so successful. But the fruits of that success, it just seems like he was guided to sell a lot of his paintings to this one organization that his accountant also worked for and had affiliations with, and benefited from setting up kind of not great contracts for Mark Rothko, where he was paid fees almost lower than what he could have gotten in other ways, actually almost definitely lower. And he didn't get interest on deferred payments over time, and it was just very strange sort of that he would accept that. Regardless of that though, anyways, so I just wanted to mention the doctor who was sort of pushed out a little bit by this controlling accountant guy I was just talking about. But the doctor was interviewed by, I assume by the author, was interviewed heavily and was involved and has seemingly, been interviewed other times about Mark Rothko. And I just don't understand how that went. Did Mark Rothko sign I guess HIPAA didn't exist yet, but were there no standards? Did Mark Rothko sign a form that's oh, my doctor can talk about all this? I don't understand how that happens. The doctor being so heavily interviewed, talking about so much. So to me, that's very uncomfortable. I would never, ever talk about a client. Even if a client, if a client specifically asked me to talk to a journalist about my experience with them, I'm still not sure if I would. I'm still not sure. I don't think I have to. I would be very much tempted to, because I want to make my clients happy, and even my former clients, of course, basically once a client, always a client in a certain sense. But, HIPAA never expires, you know what I mean? But yeah, I guess in this, I don't know what the rules were at this time, but it's weird to read a doctor just talking so much about his experience with his patient. Yeah, it's how did that happen? Anyways, I'm done. This is great. This was a fantastic episode. Episode 60 coming next week. Should be great. Should be good. Hope you had a good time listening. Have a great rest of your day or night or whatever. Okay. And goodbye. This is a podcast or something like that.